D4vd was a rising star, known for his daring lifestyle and unstoppable energy. But one night behind the wheel of his Tesla would change everything, turning fame into tragedy and leaving a mystery that shook the world. In the quiet suburban streets of Silverwood, the evening air was still, carrying only the distant hum of traffic and the occasional bark of a dog. But that calm was shattered in an instant when D4vd, a rising social media star and musician, lost control of his Tesla. The car, known for its cutting-edge technology, veered violently off the road. Tires screeched against asphalt as it mounted the curb, smashing through a metal guardrail with a deafening crash before colliding with a tree. The force of the impact left the vehicle crumpled, smoke curling into the air, and D4vd's body lifeless inside. Neighbors rushed to the scene, some taking out their phones to capture the aftermath, while others dialed emergency services in panic. Within minutes, flashing lights painted the street red and blue as paramedics and police arrived, but it was immediately clear that nothing could be done to save him. News of the crash spread like wildfire. Fans, followers, and casual observers alike flooded social media with shock, disbelief, and speculation. D4vd was known for his bold lifestyle, frequently posting videos of stunts, luxury cars, and late-night adventures. Some people described him as fearless, others as reckless, but no one could deny the influence he wielded over a growing online audience. The tragedy sparked endless debates across platforms. Was this the result of a fatal mistake, an unfortunate accident, or something far more sinister? Every detail of the crash, from the angle of impact to the state of the car's autopilot system, was dissected by amateur investigators, tech enthusiasts, and conspiracy theorists. Police immediately launched an investigation. They cordoned off the area, photographed the scene, and began collecting evidence. The Tesla's onboard computer, capable of recording minute details about speed, acceleration, and braking, became the centerpiece of the inquiry. Forensic teams carefully examined the car, noting how the airbags deployed, the damage patterns, and the trajectory of the crash. Tire marks and skid patterns told a story, but not a complete one. Every piece of evidence seemed to raise more questions than it answered. Experts in vehicle technology were called in to analyze the data, while family members and friends struggled to reconcile the person they knew with the sudden, violent way he had died. The public waited with bated breath as authorities promised answers. Yet the more information emerged, the murkier the truth seemed. In a world where technology, fame, and human error collided, D4vd's death was anything but straightforward. Every revelation sparked new theories, and every theory left lingering doubts. The crash was not just an isolated event. It became a story that gripped the community, captivated the online world, and marked the beginning of a high-profile investigation that would challenge assumptions and ignite controversy for months to come. The investigation into D4vd's death began almost immediately, with law enforcement officials treating the crash as a high-priority case. Police tape surrounded the wrecked Tesla as investigators moved cautiously around the scene, documenting every detail. Tire marks on the asphalt suggested sudden acceleration, but the question remained whether it was intentional or the result of a mechanical malfunction. Forensic teams photographed the damaged vehicle from every angle, noting the way the front bumper crumpled, how the airbags had deployed, and the precise point where the car struck the tree. Every piece of evidence was cataloged meticulously, with investigators hoping that even the smallest clue could explain why a life had ended so abruptly. Central to the inquiry was the Tesla itself. Known for its sophisticated autopilot system and extensive onboard recording capabilities, the car promised a wealth of data. Engineers were called in to extract information from the vehicle's computer, analyzing speed, acceleration, braking patterns, and autopilot engagement in the moments leading up to the crash. These digital records, sometimes referred to as the car's black box, were critical to understanding what had truly happened. Experts scrutinized the data for anomalies, glitches, or indications of tampering, knowing that any irregularity could alter the course of the investigation. Meanwhile, medical examiners conducted a detailed examination of D4vd's body. They looked for signs of trauma, unusual injuries, or substances that could have contributed to the crash. Toxicology tests were ordered to determine whether drugs or alcohol had played a role. Investigators also combed through his recent activities, including phone records, social media posts, and personal messages, searching for anything that might explain why he had been driving at such high speed that night. Each piece of the puzzle raised more questions, as the public and press watched closely, eager for updates that never seemed to come fast enough. As the days passed, the case became more complex. Automotive experts debated the Tesla's autopilot functionality, some suggesting that a sudden acceleration could occur due to a software error, while others dismissed that possibility entirely. Cybersecurity analysts were brought in to examine whether any external interference could have caused the car to behave abnormally. The combination of advanced technology, human factors, and tragedy created a tangled web that investigators struggled to untangle. With mounting public interest, scrutiny, and speculation, the pressure to find answers intensified, leaving authorities acutely aware that every statement, every theory, and every finding would be dissected by millions of online observers. In this environment of tension and uncertainty, the investigation set the stage for a series of discoveries and surprises that would challenge assumptions, uncover unexpected truths, and test the limits of forensic science, leaving no one certain of what really caused D4vd's fatal crash. As the investigation into D4vd's death progressed, suspicion and controversy began to swirl. News outlets and social media amplified every detail, speculation running rampant across forums and comment sections. Fans questioned whether the crash was truly an accident, while conspiracy theories suggested deliberate sabotage. Some pointed fingers at rivals in the music industry, others claimed the Tesla's autopilot system might have been hacked. Every lead, no matter how minor, was dissected, debated, and amplified, turning a tragic accident into a high-profile mystery that captured the public imagination. Investigators examined D4vd's personal life with unprecedented scrutiny. They reviewed his phone records, text messages, and social media activity, hoping to uncover motives or threats that might explain a potential act of foul play. Emails were analyzed for hidden clues, and friends and acquaintances were interviewed, their recollections pieced together to construct a timeline of the hours leading up to the crash. Nothing overtly incriminating emerged, yet the investigators could not ignore the possibility that something had been overlooked. Each absence of evidence seemed to raise even more questions. At the same time, Tesla engineers and software experts were immersed in the car's digital data. They analyzed the autopilot system, checking for any irregularities or signs of malfunction. The data showed unusual acceleration in the moments before impact, but whether this was due to human error, a technical glitch, or external interference remained unclear. The technology itself, though highly advanced, added layers of complexity to the investigation. Unlike traditional vehicles, where mechanical failure can often be observed visually, a Tesla's systems required intricate digital analysis to understand fully. The combination of human behavior and sophisticated software made the investigators' task particularly challenging. Public pressure continued to mount. Online communities speculated endlessly, sometimes drawing conclusions that conflicted with forensic findings. Journalists pursued every angle, creating a media storm that threatened to influence the investigation itself. Every new revelation or theory added another layer of uncertainty, as authorities attempted to maintain objectivity while under the glare of intense scrutiny. The pressure to solve the case quickly clashed with the painstaking, methodical work required to understand it. Amid the chaos, investigators remained focused on facts, slowly piecing together a complex narrative. The process revealed not only the intricacies of the crash but also the influence of public perception, technological dependence, and human behavior in shaping the story of D4vd's death. Suspicion lingered in the air, controversy persisted, and the line between accident and potential crime blurred, leaving everyone involved, officials, family, and fans alike, grappling with the uncertainty of what had truly led to that fatal night. Weeks into the investigation, new evidence began to reshape the narrative surrounding D4vd's death. Experts conducting detailed simulations with the Tesla concluded that the vehicle's autopilot system had been functioning correctly at the time of the crash. Tests showed that the car responded accurately to steering, braking, and acceleration commands, ruling out software malfunction as the primary cause. Engineers examined every line of code, every sensor reading, and every decision made by the car's AI, confirming that there were no glitches that could have caused the sudden acceleration observed. This revelation sent shockwaves through both the public and online communities, as many had been convinced that technology alone could have been to blame. Toxicology reports added another layer of complexity. D4vd's system contained traces of alcohol and prescription medication, though neither substance was at a level that would typically impair driving significantly. These findings suggested that while the presence of substances could have been a factor, they were unlikely to be the sole cause of the crash. Investigators began to consider the possibility of human error, specifically the role of distraction, fatigue, or momentary misjudgment in the events leading up to the fatal collision. It became clear that the tragedy was not a simple story of malfunction or sabotage but a convergence of multiple small factors that combined to create a catastrophic outcome. Meanwhile, scrutiny intensified around the investigation itself. Critics questioned whether authorities were being thorough enough, accusing them of closing the case too quickly or overlooking subtle clues. Independent analysts combed through the Tesla's data independently, producing conflicting interpretations that only fueled public speculation. The tension between official findings and public perception highlighted the challenges investigators faced in an age where information spreads instantly and theories multiply rapidly. Every decision, every statement, and every interpretation was examined and dissected, leaving no room for error or oversight. Despite the controversies, the facts began to coalesce into a clearer picture. There was no evidence of tampering, no credible threats, and no deliberate act that could justify criminal charges. Instead, the evidence pointed to a combination of human behavior and unfortunate circumstances: a sudden acceleration, minor impairment, and the inherent risks of high-speed driving. While some remained convinced of foul play, investigators grew confident that the crash was an accident, a tragic convergence of factors rather than the result of a criminal act. The story of D4vd's death, once shrouded in suspicion and controversy, began to reveal a quieter, more sobering truth. Even in a world dominated by technology, human vulnerability could still have devastating consequences. After months of painstaking investigation, the district attorney made a highly anticipated announcement: no homicide charges would be filed in connection with D4vd's death. The decision was met with mixed reactions, a mixture of relief, frustration, and lingering suspicion. Authorities explained that the investigation had thoroughly examined every angle: vehicle data, forensic reports, toxicology results, and personal communications, and found no evidence of intentional wrongdoing or criminal negligence. While some believed that justice had been served, others were left with unanswered questions, wondering whether the full story had truly come to light. The official report painted a sobering picture of a tragic accident. Investigators concluded that D4vd had lost control of his Tesla while traveling at high speed. The vehicle's autopilot system had functioned correctly, and no mechanical failures contributed to the crash. Toxicology findings suggested minor impairment, but not enough to explain the severity of the incident alone. The collision was the result of a perfect storm, a combination of human factors, environmental conditions, and the inherent risks of high-speed driving. The narrative shifted from one of suspicion and potential foul play to a reflection on human error, vulnerability, and the unpredictability of life. Public reaction remained intense. Social media debates continued, with some fans refusing to accept the official conclusion, while others urged the public to respect the findings and mourn responsibly. Analysts and journalists dissected the report, comparing it with initial theories, but the lack of dramatic revelations frustrated those who had followed every twist of the case. For the authorities, the decision not to file charges was not a dismissal of the tragedy, but an acknowledgement of the limitations of evidence and the complexities of modern technology. Despite the resolution, D4vd's death continued to resonate far beyond Silverwood. The story became a cautionary tale about the intersection of technology, fame, and human vulnerability. It highlighted the risks associated with high-speed driving, the scrutiny faced by public figures, and the challenges investigators encounter when advanced technology complicates what might have once been considered straightforward accidents. In the end, the crash left a lasting mark on both the community and the digital world. Fans mourned, authorities reflected on their work, and the public grappled with the uneasy truth that not every high-profile tragedy has a clear villain or a satisfying resolution. D4vd's death, while officially ruled an accident, remained shrouded in questions and speculation, a reminder that life can change in an instant, and that even with all the evidence, some mysteries may never be fully solved. The story of his final moments lingered, haunting the minds of those who had watched, read, and wondered, leaving a legacy of intrigue, reflection, and unresolved tension.